Hello, this is Keninigan from RagingReptilian.com, and in this video I wanted to show you what I believe the Alpha-Draconian Reptilians language would actually look like. Now, as you can see in the background, I have the video clip playing that I used in a few videos, and this is the test footage that Jim Henson took out back of his house in 1978 of the Skeksis, and this is a pretty part of the theory too. Over the years I've been teaching people that the Alpha-Draconians are winged and more avian-like. And if you know anything about birds, they're more in tune with electromagnetics. That's how they navigate themselves around the planet. So an evolved avian species is going to be very in tune to electromagnetics. And as I taught with the liquid crystal polarization video, the occult is ruled by electromagnetics, meaning that their power with so-called black magic, is the word used for that, is actually going to be pretty powerful. So, and the other part of this theory too is even the way their hands look, the claw shape. I'm trying to imagine, you know, even if they could write a language with that type of appendage, what would it look like? And how would their actual language appear? I don't think it's going to be anything like the English language that we know, which one of the reasons why we have thousands of languages around the globe goes back to the Tower of Babel incident, which is probably another video in itself one day. However, what I am going to do though is I made a video a few months back called Reptilians and Archons Use Black Magic to Dominate the World, and I took this clip out of the video and I sped it up a little bit because in that video I was using text-to-speech editors to do the narration. And I just want to show you the 7 major celestial alphabets used in the occult. And I'm going to explain why I believe 2 of them look more like the kind that you would probably see an Alpha-Draconian's language actually looking like. So I'm going to start recording my desktop here. And this is a loop of a video. This part of the video, I explain the 7 main celestial alphabets used by black magicians to invoke reptilians and archons in occult rituals and ceremonial magic. And what I'm going to do is just briefly explain each one as it goes through. There's a lot of serpent and lizard symbolism in the occult. The lesser key of Solomon is where I'm going to show you some of those seals at the end of the video. Now, the Theban alphabet. This one is also known as the witch's alphabet. But when you take a look at it, see, I did this so I can pause as I'm going through here. These all represent a symbol or a letter in our alphabet. 26 symbols. So, and it's based off the Hebrew script. But this is definitely... This alphabet, I believe, these are more alphabets used in controlling and summoning archons, or archonic energy, not the Alpha-Draconians themselves. The other thing I want to say about this is, this alphabet is usually used on a lot of rune stones. I think there's going to be some pictures flashing up from when I did this video. But basically, yeah. And see, they can all be equated to like a letter in the regular alphabet. Some of the casting symbols there. Grinmore, which is related to the word grammar in the alphabet. And a lot of these scripts too are loosely, you know, based on more or less Hebrew also, a lot of these lower summoning alphabets. See, there's the rune stones right there that they're usually used for. Now this one, Passing the River. This one is derived from the Hebrew alphabet and was created by Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa during the 16th century. Now this one looks sort of like angelic script, the one that I'm going to show you in a few minutes, but it's also associated with letters, as you can see. So in the end, it winds up just being more of a cipher alphabet than anything. And it doesn't even have all the letters from the alphabet. It's what I can see. It's mostly missing the vowels, I believe. And that's pretty interesting too, within the alphabet. That the vowels and consonants, yeah, it all plays into word magic. Okay. I'm not an expert on each individual language, obviously, because I don't practice the occult, so I learn what I can just by studying this stuff. And yeah, that is the 3 books of occult philosophy it appears in. Very well known occultic book. Now this one, Malachi. This one is one of the interesting ones. Now, as you can see with the other ones, these ones are represented by letters, but they're also represented by ways to pronounce them. The Malachi alphabet is derived from the Hebrew and Greek alphabets. The original Bible was written in Greek. Remember that. It was created by Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa during the 16th century and is still used by Freemasons to a limited extent. This version is from the Bartolozzi's Biblia Magna Rabbicana, 1675. Very interesting, because with each one of these symbols, you'll see, they go to points and then there's circles at the points, except for this one, but it does it on this square. As if like energy moves and then it comes to the circle and just stays spinning. I think that these alphabets, like this Malachi, are more based on electromagnetic frequencies. This is probably more like what the language would look like that reptilians would probably use. So this is definitely a very interesting alphabet. But when we get to the angelic script one, I'll show you that one. I'm going to speed the video up through this. Yeah, it's used by the Freemason, even though they won't admit that. Okay, the Enochian alphabet. A lot of people know this one. It's used heavily in Satanism. As you'll notice with this too, it's more like, nothing like what the Malachi script looks like. There are pronunciations and letters just like with that. But I believe the Enochian is more for summoning archonic energy. I believe these are the lower demonic energies that they use in these. Probably rituals in which they would be using the pentagram, whereas with the angelic script, as I'll show in a few pictures, they use hexagrams with that. So you have one magic that's aiming at Venus and one that's aiming at Saturn, which I find very interesting too. Let's see. I put the picture in there, the Archon being summoned. I believe that was... Yeah. Oh, there's the hexagram too. Well, I'm not so much of an expert in the casting symbols. It can get... But... Okay, the Daggers alphabet. Now this one's very interesting. This one was written by Aleister Crowley, and it's in his book The Vision and the Voice. Now, he is also taught that people can summon Lamb through his sex magic rituals, which is the Alien Grey Archon. Now, why this is called a cipher alphabet more than anything, it's just basically the A is represented by this, the B is represented by that. Here's the C, and here's the D. And to understand this basically, I guess the best way and easiest way to put it for people maybe watching this to become familiar is, imagine like emoticons that you use in a forum or sending text messages. They're symbols used to convey an emotion or a type of energy towards somebody. So rather than spelling a word out, instead of saying I'm happy, you may just send a smiley face. And that's more or less how a cipher would work. But this is definitely used for summoning lower arcanic forces. probably what he showed the alien gray lamb being. And this is all specifically tied around his sex magic Thelema rituals. He's another video in himself, which I plan to get to shortly. Now, Alphabet of the Magi, you'll notice this. You'll see the different letters that are symbolized underneath of it. But it looks nothing like the Malachime or the angelic script that I'm going to show you. And it's this, as you can see, okay. Okay, he used it to engrave the name of angels on talismans, but when I show you the angelic script, you're going to see how much more it looks like the Malachime scripts, and these are some of the symbols out of the occult books, which I found information about that. That I believe is from I think this is from the 3 books of occult philosophy or something. It was a while since I made that video, so okay. At the mystic alphabet of the Magi. The angelic alphabet. Okay. Now this is the one that mainly I wanted to make this video about. And you see a very distinct looking pattern in these symbols. They're not represented by any English letters. Their pronunciations. Zan. This is Gamel. Beth. Alif. Zaid. And these are for summoning and talking for communication with angels. Now, some of you may say, well, angels are supposed to be divine, godly beings, but yeah, that's taught in the Bible. But what I'm going to show you with a few pictures after this video is finished here is that these symbols are also used in black magic casting. And this is probably more along the lines of what the Alpha-Draconian language would look like. Something like this. And you'll see how these letters stop. They have the circles around them. I'm going to show you a better pic of these after the video is done. And it looks a lot like the Malachime alphabet used to a limited extent, quote unquote, by the Freemason. And if any of you have ever seen the movie The Prophet with Christopher Walken where he plays the fallen angel, there's a scene in that movie with angelic script written on the wall, and it looks sort of like this. And I just think, you know, the name itself is suspect, being that it's called, you know, angelic script. But the fact that it's also found in black magic casting is also subject. Is it for summoning the fallen angels? You know, that's what you need to ask yourself. It looks nothing like the dagger cipher like I showed, and nothing like the Enocrotian or the Passion of Rivers, which were based off like Hebrew scripts. Now the word opera there, that's interesting. That's backwards. That's Arapo, the demon general. That's one of the monsters, I believe, from the Lesser Key of Solomon. So the angelic script and the Malachime really stand out to me. And I'm letting this video play here just because I put a part in at the end here. That's the Skeksis from the Dark Crystal performing their black magic ritual at the Great Conjunction. You'll notice the script all around them on the floor has, you know, Jim Henson knew a lot when he made this movie. So stop the video here. Now what I'm going to do for the rest of the video is just pop up a few pictures here so you can see different angels, their symbols, and how this angelic script fits in with black magic and the occult. So as far as, you know, how I think this would look pretty close to what their language would actually look like, the Alpha-Draconians. Just from the shape of the letters, the way it looks like it's some type of movement and energy that comes to circles. And I believe this would probably be the language that is used in actually summoning them. along with blood magic, which is mentioned in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, that it was blood magic used. And so this angelic script in Malachim, along with the right casting symbols and right ceremonial magic ritual, is probably how they summon the Alpha-Draconians and how they communicate with them, and possibly what their own language would even look like. It's probably more of an occultic-based language, more like an alphabet like this, where they can convey energy through words written, less confusing than like our English language or all the languages we have around the world. In the future, I will do a video on the Tower of Babel incident, which is very interesting in itself, where all the roots of the different languages come from. And that dates back to the Anunnaki, or reptilians in ancient Sumeria. So that's all for this video. If any of you have questions or comments, please leave them and I'll try to get back to them. I've been a little slow at responding to comments because I've been quite busy with making videos and taking care of my website and everything. But I will try to respond. And until we speak again, this is Kninigan, and take care.